Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be talking about the Alien Evolved Kickstarter. So this is like the second edition of the Alien role-playing game, and I want to kind of discuss a little bit about what that means, what sort of some of the changes are that I've noticed from. There's a Q&A video that just came out earlier today. I'm recording this on April the 10th. But there's also some other things that I've noticed from a live playthrough of the Hope's Last Day scenario. Done by some of like the Outside Xbox crew, if you're familiar with them at all. They also had a couple of other players from another series, but one of those guys was actually the voice actor for Geralt from the Witcher game. So it's kind of cool to hear sort of that like Witcher voice being used in there. But anyway, so the Alien role-playing game, it's about 6 years old, I think they said in the video. So it came out in like 2019, and I know that feels like a short time for a turnaround for a new edition of the role-playing game. And as much as I love first edition Alien, and I genuinely do, like I've run Hope's Last Day at least 3 times now. I think it's only been 3 times. And I've run the Chariot of the Gods. I recently wrapped up running Destroyer of Worlds, and I'm going to be looking forward to running Heart of Darkness. In the very near future as well. Although I think I'll actually wait for that and convert that into the second edition version of the Alien game. But essentially, the first edition of the Alien role playing game definitely had some quirks to it. For example, making like attacks with like rockets or grenades, like it was kind of weird trying to figure out exactly how that worked because the wording wasn't particularly clear, because they explode and they have their own explosion dice that you would roll, but you also make an attack roll where extra successes on an attack roll can also equal more damage. So anyway, it was just one of those things that like we had to kind of question a little bit. So I mean, there were some things in the first edition that definitely could be clarified, could be tweaked, could be done a little bit better. We also had the release of Alien Romulus recently, so that's something to be added to the chronology of the Alien role-playing game universe there, because the Alien role-playing game does operate off of the canon for the current Alien like film series and universe and stuff that like the comics and things are allegedly connected to. So yeah, so there's definitely been some updates to that. Like, so there's about 7 days to go on the Kickstarter here, and it has done incredibly well. So I backed it as soon as I could. Like, I was actually refreshing the Kickstarter page every hour on its launch day, so that I could try to get to be one of like those early backers. And I backed it within the first like 5 minutes, because I did like scroll through and look at some of the things. We'll go over some of the stuff here in a moment as well. But its original goal was, and again, I'm going to be using Canadian dollars because I live in Canada and that's how it's presented here on my screen. But the Canadian dollar goal was about $70,657. So I would imagine that might be around 60,000 US. I'm not entirely sure of that. But they reached their funding goal in like 10 minutes. So within 10 minutes of launching, they already met. The campaign already succeeded, right? And then they had a set of 5 stretch goals that were also all unlocked within the first 90 minutes. They then released a second set of 5 like stretch goals, and they were met within like 24 hours. So they actually had to figure out a third set of stretch goals, because you have to be careful about including things that like would push back production. They have to be careful about what they can include when it comes to like what the licensee or licensor, I guess, would allow, right? Because everything has to go through approval from from 20th Century Studios, right? Because that's the people that hold the license. So it's done absolutely incredible. Like at the time that I'm recording this video, it's raised $2.6 million Canadian. I don't know what that works out to U.S., but that's a heck of a lot of money in their native. Is it Swedish kroners? In their native currency from where Free League is based. They had a goal of 500,000, and they've raised 18.4 million. So it's really kind of crazy here. 9,047 backers. So we'll take a look here at what this is, sort of what we have. So the Alien Evolved Edition. It's going to include like the Kickstarter, the basics of the Kickstarter has a brand new starter set, the new core book, and a brand new box set cinematic scenario called the Raptured Protocol. A little bit of a blurb there, but we can kind of see what's interesting about this is the new books look like they're going to have a different presentation. So with the first edition, I don't know if I can click on that. I'm not going to open up a search or anything. But in the original Alien role-playing game, the books were printed in black with like white or kind of like a grayish text on it. So with this one, they're going with white paper with just like black text and like green for the like sidebars and stuff here. And I liked the look of like the black pages and stuff, but the one thing I will say about that is like whatever they finish that type of paper with, it leaves like thumbprints and fingerprints behind like really easily. So I think that the new sort of cleaner look is going to be a lot nicer overall. It'll probably be easier to read too. I think, and the fact that the pages are going to be predominantly white would obviously, I would say, save them when it comes to the production cost. And, when you're saving pennies, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're saving pennies on something that you're producing in the millions, it does add up, right? So you can kind of see like the different sort of presentation style there. There is the weapons and stuff. We have the smart gun, we have the pulse rifle, we have the rifle from the prototype or early version pulse rifle from Alien Romulus, which is going to be featured in the core rulebook. So the Evolved Edition of the Alien game features the new iconic items, ships, and locations from the successful Alien Romulus film, so letting players travel back to Jackson Star to explore the mining colony. So we actually have like the map for the colony there. There's the ship that the characters from the movie were on, and again, there's that pulse rifle. So with the Evolved Edition, here's what I kind of want to get into. So based on the feedback from thousands of players over 5 years of adventures, the Evolved Edition of the core rulebook delivers an updated and streamlined version of the Alien role-playing game fans know and love, along with additional new artwork, new content, and a variety of new tools for players and game mothers alike, all fully compatible with previous releases and game material. So it's so like when they announced a new version of the Alien role-playing game, like I know a lot of people were upset, and I feel like they're kind of maybe stuck in the Dungeons and Dragons version of what a new edition is, where like when D&D comes out with a new edition, or even like with Pathfinder and Starfinder, when they release a new edition, it's a drastic change to kind of what they had before, right? So like from second edition to third edition was a big change, right? From third to fourth was a big change. From fourth to fifth was a big change. So I think when people hear new editions, they expect it to be this like completely new version of the game that renders everything else that they had purchased to be obsolete, and that's not really the case. Like I would, there's other role-playing games that have rule sets that are largely untouched or largely the same as they go through the editions. It's more of like an iterative sort of improvements that are being done. So like Call of Cthulhu, for example, is an RPG that like I have the 40th anniversary stuff that is like the second edition of the role-playing game, but its components are very compatible with the current 7th edition. And I think it would only maybe like modify a couple things like some of the skill names. Maybe some of the numbers might be tweaked a little bit, but by and large, early stuff from Call of Cthulhu is still compatible. And with the Alien version of the role playing game, it's the same thing, right? Like the basic game mechanics are the same. It's still a dice pool system where you have an attribute and a skill number. You add the attribute number to the skill number. That's the number of d6s that you're rolling. You're still looking for sixes on the dice. I had initially thought that they might have changed to like the Blade Runner dice mechanics, which were similar, but you had a die for your skill and then you had a die for your attribute. But this is the exact same rule set. They're just or the exact same mechanics. So they're just kind of tweaking and refining things. So, like I said, a lot of your previously purchased stuff is still going to be compatible. The rule book you're probably going to want to switch to if you're using the new one. But yeah, I mean, it's not like it's this huge, complete, like a completely new role-playing game. So, especially with like the cinematic scenarios that you have before, those would be compatible. You just have to do some minor tweaks, and their campaign books, so Building Better Worlds and the Colonial Marines Operations Manual. Those are like almost completely compatible, like 100%. But there are some minor tweaks, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But so what we have is new graphic design, revised and expanded stealth mode, revised and expanded talents, revised stress and panic rules, revised rules for ammo and armor, revised rules for grenades and stuns. So that one I'm looking forward to. Zero gravity rules, miniature play support, which I'm a huge fan of, weapons and ships from Alien Romulus, the Jackson Star, and it's going to come with a Last Survivor solo mode. So I know like some of the RPGs that I have from Free League have like a solo mode to them. Like the One Ring has the Strider mode. I think Dragonbane has solo rules as well. So yeah, that's going to be kind of interesting to see how that works. But to get to some of these other things here, so revised and expanded stealth mode. When I've been running the Alien role-playing game, I never really used stealth mode that much, other than just having like if the characters enter a room with like a hidden xenomorph, then they would make a check for observation versus the xenomorph's mobility. And I think I had the xenomorph maybe roll an observation check. I'm not entirely sure, but I never really used the stealth rules all that thoroughly. So to have them like revised and expanded upon, I might go into that a little bit more. Revised and expanded talents. Again, I don't know much about that as far as like seeing it in play, but revised stress and panic rules. So there is, if we go down to like this here, the reviews and live plays. This is the one I was talking about here. So if you were to check this out, because like a lot of these older videos that they have connected here, like they are from way back in the day, but this is actually using the 2nd edition rule set here. So you got the Alien role-playing game Evolved Edition. That's the voice actor for Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher series. So I ended up watching that, and with the rules for ammo and armor. So in 1st edition Alien, the ammo basically you didn't track it in any way, shape, or form. You had ammo until you panicked. And so if you were rolling your attack roll and your stress dice, and if you rolled a 1 on your stress dice, you would make a panic roll. You would roll a d6 plus your stress level, and if you got a 7 or higher, you panicked. And if you panicked, then you emptied your reserve of ammunition for that weapon. So you would have to reload. Now that works, like it does, because like if you think about the scene in Aliens, when Ripley's shooting up the Queen's chamber with all the eggs there, like she kind of overdid it. Like like she flamethrowered all the eggs already. Like she was shooting the xenomorphs as they approached her when they were already down and dead. She fired all of her grenades at the like the egg sack thing. So like she emptied her ammo in that sequence. She kept nothing for the fight with the actual queen. So like it does work as a mechanic, but there's issues with that because if you gave a firearm to a synthetic, they could never run out unless it was an item like the like the bolt launcher, or like a grenade or rocket launcher that has like a specific ammunition that you have to have. But if you were just using a pulse rifle with the synthetic, like they would never run out because they would never panic, like they never succumb to stress. So with the new version of the game, when you're firing, I wasn't clear about it when they were doing it in the video that I just mentioned there, because it seemed like he had them roll for it at the end of an act. So I don't know exactly if that's going to be the way that it's done or not, but essentially it's treated like a regular resource in the Alien role-playing game. So with the regular resources, like if you were wearing an environmental suit, you'd have like an air supply, or if you're using like a motion tracker, it has a power supply, and that power supply would have a number rating, and whatever that number was, when you used the item, you would roll that many dice, and any ones that you rolled on it would reduce your reserve, right? So if you had a power supply of 5, you rolled 5d6, and 2 of them came up as ones, then now your power supply was 3. It didn't prevent you from using the item, but it just meant that you were that much closer to running out. So that's kind of how they treat ammo here now. So it's a resource that you basically roll for, and it diminishes, for the ones that you roll. The armor, I didn't really get a good example of that in the video, and I actually remember because, like, when they were playing, they were shooting the xenomorph with like pistols, and the xenomorph appeared to just be taking the full amount of damage. Now, in the first edition of the Alien role-playing game, armor gave you a number, and again, like everything else, you'd roll that many d6, and for each 6 that you rolled, you would reduce a point of damage. So most xenomorphs had, like full-grown xenomorphs had an armor rating of 10. So when you hit them with the weapon, like you would roll 10d6, and each one or each 6 that you rolled would reduce that damage. So they never made any of those rolls in the Hope's Last Day scenario that they were playing. And I watched the Q&A video that they just put out from Free League, and it seems like armor might it's kind of moved away from the dice, and I think it just has like a rating, almost like damage reduction in like third edition D&D, right? Like I think it just has like a set number that it might subtract from the damage that you roll, because like they mentioned the fact that if you were to just shoot a regular gun at an armored vehicle in the Alien First Edition role playing game, it was unlikely, but it was fully possible for that regular bullet to penetrate the armor if you picked up a handful of dice and you didn't roll enough 6s. And I've done that. Like I rolled like 14d6 when they were attacking the Alien Queen in my Destroyer of Worlds game for the Queen's armor, and didn't get a single 6. So like it was possible to do that. So I'm speculating because it wasn't really clearly demonstrated, but I suspect that armor now just automatically subtracts a certain amount of damage, and then you can have like armor piercing, or like, or well, it might reduce that number or half that number. Again, I'm speculating. I'm not saying that that's exactly how it's going to be, but that was kind of the impression that I was given. And there are items that are actually like not good at armor penetration. Like I think the shotgun was one. So for the shotgun, like it was, I forget what the actual wording of it was, but essentially you would roll double the armor dice. So there might be certain things where like the armor value might double or might increase. So again, I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but I suspect it's something along those lines. And so we got like the revised rules for grenades and stuns. I didn't like. I think they used a grenade in that scenario, but I don't remember exactly how they ended up doing that in that one. The revised stress and panic rule. So this is actually something else that I'm really looking forward to here. I guess I can't highlight. But for stress and panic. So one of the things that for running these cinematic scenarios, particularly Destroyer of Worlds, because Destroyer of Worlds got real intense as it went on. With the first edition role playing game, you just had a single panic table that you rolled on, and that was it. And as the scenario goes on, it's a lot easier to get a panic that completely screws you over. So with the panic table, you had, I think it was 1 through 14 or 15. So 1 through 6, again, rolling a d6 and adding your stress level to it. If you got a total combined result of 1 through 6, then you were fine. All right, like you held it together, you didn't panic. If you got a result, I think that was 7 through 7, 8, or 9, then you were successful in your task, but you suffered some other minor setbacks. So you might develop like a nervous twitch, things like that. If you got a 10, 11, or 12, I think it was, then your action was unsuccessful. Like the panic result overtook what you were doing. And they would have you do things like freeze or flee or scream. And then if you got a result of like 13 or higher, then you developed like a permanent mental scar type of thing. And that would have you like go like catatonic. But as you're going through, like you're accumulating stress dice a lot throughout, especially like cinematic play. And it was getting to the point where in the Destroyer of Worlds, where it was almost worth like pointless to try to roll to do anything because the players had so many stress dice and their stress level was so high that it was almost impossible for them to succeed at their task. So what I've gathered from the gameplay is that stress now has its own separate table, and then panic is going to be much more rare. So, like, for example, they were rolling and they'd roll on their stress dice. They would roll like a one or a face hugger on their alien dice, and they would roll on this table. But it was separate from like the panic. It was just a stress table. So it would have you do things like they would like none of that ever stopped them from succeeding on the stress table from what they rolled in the video that I was talking about earlier. But like they could do something where like they succeed, but they take damage in the process, right? So I think the example was one of them was using a bolt gun, and the kickback ended up like hitting them and causing a point of damage type of thing, which is actually kind of funny because I don't want to spoil too much, but you can get to a situation where a player is knocked down and you're trying to heal them back up, and they immediately take an action that they panic and they hurt themselves again and can knock themselves back unconscious. So that's kind of interesting. But the panic, I don't recall them rolling on the panic table that often. Because it seems like that, like I said, it seems like they've separated the two. And for panic, I think that's fine. Like I'm okay with stress happening much more frequently and providing some minor setbacks. But like I said, by the end of Destroyer of Worlds, the characters were like full on like screaming and running and not able to do much of their things. So like I would present them with opportunities to lower those numbers, but they still like would rack up. So it does seem like they've separated stress from panic. And the stress things are, can be bad, but they don't get in the way of you achieving your goals. And the panic looks like it's going to come into play less often, but will probably be a lot more harsh when it does come into play. So there is that. Okay, so we also have a life paths creation, character creation. So this seems like it's going to be kind of a neat inclusion as well. So you can basically, if you want to like fill out your character's backstory while creating your character by just like rolling on tables and stuff like that, you can do that now. So you kind of can choose where you were born, kind of like how you like you could determine how you responded to certain life events, and that will help fill out your character sheet. So I think that's kind of neat. That was not present in the original Alien role-playing game. So again, the artwork here also looks really, really cool. Some of it seems similar to the original first edition. Like I'm pretty sure that was in the first edition rule book, and like this was the cover of the first edition rule book. But yeah, like there's new artwork and stuff in here as well. And Free League's art department, whoever they contract to do their art for their products, like they have an amazing artists that work on things for them. So some really, really cool stuff there. The Kickstarter itself has a unique limited edition version of the core rulebook. So, which has like the mural, sort of like an alien themed mural. It's not quite the one from Prometheus, which is great. But you can see like the eggs there, and like sort of the idea of like the crest of the alien queen and the arms coming down type of thing. Those look like they might be like legs. So this is a embossed version, so it's going to be like textured, and it's going to have a deluxe laminate material. So if you back the Kickstarter, then this is the default version of the core rulebook that I believe you get. If you get like a bundle, you can get it separate. Okay, no, if you get the Roughneck bundle, you get the regular. We'll talk about the bundles here in a moment. So I guess it's starting with the the company bundle has a regular one as well. Okay, so this is for like the two top tiers of the Kickstarter that you can choose from, but you can also add it separately. So my plan when I get this is just going to be a collector's item. So I will not be using it. But I will be having it proudly displayed on my shelf. So again, this is the only way to get this version of the cover. That's going to be like, sort of again like textured and embossed and unique, is through the Kickstarter only. And it has a brand new starter set, and if you've been following my channel, you know that I loves me some starter sets. I still really want to get into start doing my starter set Saturday series. It's just there's always been something that's kind of come up and prevented me from doing that. Again, I wanted to actually record those videos, but my wife took my tripod, so I can't really do that right now. But yeah, brand new starter set, and the first starter set was amazing. But this one here, it's going to have the rule booklet. It's got the cards and stuff that were unlocked as extras through the Kickstarter, like stretch goals type of thing. But it's going to come with a full set of base dice and a full set of stress dice. So really all that you need to run this game will be in there. But it's got these large full color maps, and what's awesome about this again is they're incorporating miniature play into this now. So with the miniatures, they don't do like distances like in D&D or like speeds or anything like that. It's just basically done by zones, which are kind of a more abstract thing. But man, when I was running my online game, I would still draw out like the maps and use just regular like D&D minis to kind of represent where things are. But yeah, to actually have like miniature support play is awesome. The rule book in the original starter set was all of the rules that you needed to run the Alien game, except for character creation. So when I was running games at the table, I would usually reference the starter set rule booklet because it had all the rules that you needed. So really cool stuff here. The adventure booklet. The adventure is going to feature Hope's Last Day, which was included in the first edition core rulebook. But they've said it's expanded out, and it is now a 3-act scenario. They played Hope's Last Day in the video that I keep referencing, and it was still a one-shot, so I don't know if they were using the fully expanded version of it, or if they were just given guidelines on where to like cut off the different acts, because it did seem similar to the experiences that I had running the core rulebook. But there might be more to it. Again, they may have condensed things just to make it a one shot. But I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly how they expand Hope's Last Day, because that's the scenario that I have run the most. I've run it 3 times now for 3 different groups. And I really do enjoy that scenario, although I always have altered it to include like the birth of an alien queen, where I use like the molting method in my alien games, where like the first xenomorph, the one that would have come out of Newt's father, would molt into like different versions until it became like the queen, because there were enough facehuggers, there were enough there were enough victims to create a hive. So I would always have them stumble across the room where the queen emerges from her cocoon. And then, like, the final sequence is essentially them running away from the queen to get to the shuttle. Um, but with the starter set, with this one being expanded, I won't include that in if I when I go to run the second edition version. But I am looking forward to that. Also, the starter set will also come with a xenomorph miniature. That was one of the stretch goals that was unlocked. It doesn't include any other miniatures, unfortunately. But you do get a Xenomorph Mini included with the starter set. And if this picture is anything to go off of, it does look like it's going to be fully assembled. So I just recently picked up the Aliens board game. So another glorious day in the Marine Corps, or another glorious day in the Corps. I got the Ultimate Badasses expansion, and I got the Get Away From Her, You Expletive. Um, which I guess I just said the A word as well. But anyway, so like I have those, and I bought them primarily for the miniatures because I want to run the Alien role playing game, and where we're going to have miniature play be supported. I wanted to have a selection of minis. But those ones you have to put together, and it looks like these ones are going to come fully assembled, so I'm looking forward to that. It also comes with a new cinematic scenario called the Rapture Protocol. So I don't think it gives you a whole lot, but it kind of takes you back to the original Alien feel. So the players are crew of a small star freighter on a resupply run. Where things obviously are going to go pretty bad. And to accompany this cinematic scenario, they've also created a mini set. So the mini set for the Rapture Protocol, the set includes at least 17 high quality minis. So I think that number's changed now. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, so it's got 20 minis now. But originally you had one xenomorph. I think it was just one xenomorph. And then the power loader, and then these guys here. So you've got an actual set of minis designed for the cinematic scenario. But what's also really cool about this is that the miniatures are going to come with a set of skirmish rules. So you can actually play it as a miniatures game, which I think is really, really cool. Again, I wish I could highlight. So yeah, it comes with skirmish battles that you can use, and they're going to be doing future miniature sets. I think from the Q&A thing, they have mentioned that they're kind of trying to tie them to the scenarios that they release. But Chariot of the Gods, which came in the original starter set for first edition, was very much an alien feel to it, right? It was very much like you were the space truckers, where things went wrong. The second scenario, Destroyer of Worlds, was very much aliens because you were colonial marines fighting a hive. And then the third adventure, which I haven't run yet, or scenario, I guess adventure feels wrong to say. The third scenario, Heart of Darkness, features the characters going to a Weyland-Yutani prison labor station. So it's very much like Alien 3. Although it's definitely got more going on to it than that. Like each of these have more than just like, oh, you're just playing aliens, or you're just playing Alien, or you're just playing Alien 3. Like it is more involved than that. But the basic, if you were to boil it down to like which film each scenario most closely resembles, then that's how that would work. So I strongly suspect that the next cinematic scenario that comes out for the Alien Revised or Evolved Edition, which will include a miniature set that will launch alongside of it. I suspect it will feature a larger number of xenomorphs. And they would also include the skirmish rules for them too. So again, really, really cool stuff. So not only can you get the two box sets, which I'm a huge sucker for, but you get minis and you get a minis game to play with them. So I think that's really, really cool. So another thing with the Kickstarter here, at the highest level, the Engineer bundle, or you can add these as add-on, which I did because I did the Xenomorph bundle. I didn't even look at what the Engineer one had. I ended up adding a lot of extra stuff to basically make the Engineer bundle and then some. But it's fine. But the previously released campaign books for Colonial Marines and Building Better Worlds, they're going to have updated versions. And largely because they needed to be reprinted anyway. So they're going to be reprinted in the design of the newer books, of like with the white pages and black text. Now, the original books are still very much going to be compatible with the second edition or the Evolved edition of the Alien role-playing game. So you don't necessarily need to get the new books in order to be able to play or be able to use them with the new edition. Effectively, I think what he said is that it's mostly just some of the stats of like some of the NPC stats might be slightly changed, or vehicle stats will be slightly different because of the different armor mechanics. So it's not like you necessarily need to get the newest versions to be able to play them with the Evolved Edition, but they are going to be reprinted anyway, so they have updated them for the newest version of the game. So if you don't have them already and you want to get them, you can get them with the Kickstarter, which is why I added them onto mine. Because, like I said, I really didn't pay attention to what the Engineer bundle had, but it's fine. So they do have those as well. So we got the solo mode. If you support at the Xenomorph or Engineer level, or you can add these as well. But just like a little benefit of doing the Kickstarter, you can get these what are they? Brass pins with enamel, like brass enamel crew pins. So again, it's kind of just a neat little extra inclusion here. So here's are the stretch goals. So like I said, the first 5 were met within like the first hour and a half. So we got the NPC cards for Rapture Protocol. We've got the extra face. We have Facehugger miniatures, which were added to the Rapture Protocol mini set. The Life Path character creation system was unlocked for the core rulebook. The Universal Supply Dial for the starter set. So I think it only comes with one, but this could be really useful for like tracking like ammo or power for devices or things along those lines. So I think it's just the one. I can't remember if we go back up to the starter set. Yeah, I think it just comes with one, but that's fine. It's still something that can be useful. Stretch goals. So we have the bonus miniature for the starter set as well. The skirmish battle rules for the miniatures has been included. Panic cards for the starter set. This is going to, I think, come in really handy. Then we've got a bonus adventure. So it's called Chrysalis, and it is going to be digital only. So it's not going to be like a physical print item. It's just going to be a PDF, but you'll be able to get that as well with it's part of the Kickstarter here. One of the things for the core rulebook, the Tartarus sector has actually had like a campaign setting created for it and put into the core rulebook. And then we've got the bonus miniature for the Rapture Protocol set, which has been unlocked. So all of these first set of 10 stretch goals, they were all unlocked in the first like 24 hours. So then it took them a while to get like a next set of 5 of 5 stretch goals, because again, like you have to worry about how it will impact your production. You can't go too far with things because everything needs to be signed off on. So what we have is a card tuck box for the starter set. So you can actually have like a box that you can fold up and put the cards into. I'm assuming it will still fit in the starter set box, but we'll have to check that out when it comes out. There's also a digital art book that was unlocked as well. So these first two were actually unlocked by default. Because of the increment. Again, these are like the Swedish, I think it's Swedish kroners, whatever their currency is. But they were already beyond 15 million of their Swedish, whatever it is, but by the time they finally introduced the third wave of stretch goals. So these first two were unlocked immediately. And then the third one here is the ribbon bookmark. So in the collector's edition of the core rulebook only, so the Kickstarter exclusive version, will now have a ribbon bookmark included in it. The regular core rulebook will not. So these have all been unlocked right now, and the last two have not been yet. So the last two is a mother-themed GM screen design, and I have no idea what that means other than the panels on the inside might be formatted to look like the mother interface from Alien, like with the black and green and things like that. That's the only thing I can really think of. I don't know exactly what that entails, but I am intrigued. So it'll be interesting if they unlock that. If they do, like they're only producing one style of the GM screens. So if they unlock this, then they're all going to be that format going forward, or like for in perpetuity. If they don't unlock that goal, then it will just be however they have it currently laid out. And then the final one at 22.5 million Swedish. I'm hoping it's Swedish kroners because I keep saying it, so I'm really hoping that's right. But if they unlock that much, or if they raise that much in the Kickstarter, then an alien-themed dice bag will be included, and that will be included in the Roughneck bundle and above. So here we've got the different reward summaries, and that tells you basically what is included in what. So you can get the individual items of the starter set, Rapture Protocol, core rulebook, or the miniature set as like part of the as like part of like the backing options. So if you only want to get like the new rulebook, or if you only want to get the new starter set, then you could do that, right? That's available here as like the levels that you can do. There is the cinematic bundle, which comes with the Rapture Protocol. So the box set, and it comes with the miniature set. So we have that. The collector's version of the core rulebook is also its own separate pledge reward that you can do if you want to. Then there is the Roughneck bundle. So the Roughneck bundle was actually added as the Kickstarter had already launched, and it was based off of people's like questions and feedback, right? So again, one of the things that I think Free League does really well is that they take feedback and try to incorporate it, right? So initially you had the company bundle, Xenomorph bundle, and engineer bundle, and that was it. And then you had the individual items, which I don't think included the collector's rulebook either. So I think that was also added in as its own like thing after the fact. But you had a lot of people saying that like they wanted to do a pledge where they get the core rulebook, the starter set, and the Rapture Protocol, but they weren't interested in the minis. And well, for the most part, it's like they say that they run online, or they don't use miniatures in their gameplays, so they weren't really interested in that. And at first, they were like the only thing they could do to get just the rulebook, the starter set, and the cinematic scenario box set was to pledge for one of these things individually and then add the other two on as add-ons. And like to add things on as like an extra during the Kickstarter doesn't cost any difference. right. Like it doesn't like it's not cheaper to do. It's not cheaper to pledge to a bundle than it would be to pledge to an individual item and then add the extra stuff on later. But it's a bit more of a hassle. So they actually created this Roughneck bundle, which has the core rulebook, which is just the regular version of the core rulebook, and then it comes with the starter set and the Rapture Protocol. The next version is the company bundle. So that comes with the standard version, and PDFs are included for anything that you purchase here as well. Um, so they had the the company bundle, which has the regular core rulebook, the starter set, the Rapture Protocol box set, and the miniature set. So this was the one that like people were kind of saying that they wish that they could get those three without the minis. Now I wanted the minis 100%. But yeah, so that's an option there as well. And then there's the Xenomorph bundle, which is the one that I went with, which is actually further up because it's the one that I chose. Yeah, here it is. So and I added stuff on extra, but it comes with by default, and you save a little bit as you get like the bundles as well. So like I guess the bundles can give you a little bit of a savings, but it's not like anything super drastic. So with the Xenomorph bundle, does the Roughneck bundle save you? Yeah, I guess it saves you a little bit there. Maybe I was a little bit hasty in saying that. But with the Xenomorph bundle, you get the starter set, you get the Rapture Protocol. It does not come with the standard core rulebook because it comes with the collector's core rulebook. And then you've got the, like I said, the miniature set comes with it. You also get a Game Master screen. It comes with an extra set of base dice and an extra set of stress dice, as well as those brass enamel crew pins and honorable mention, which I'm going to assume means that your name will be included in like the credits at the back of the book. And I put mine in is under my like YouTube handle name, I'm pretty sure. So that's really cool to see. So I got this bundle, but then I added on. I've added on quite a bit actually. So I've added extra starter sets because I want to keep one sealed. I want to have one that I have opened. I think I did the same thing. I think I ordered an extra copy of the Rapture Protocol box set as well. So again, I don't know if I'm going to keep that sealed or what I might end up doing with that one. I got an extra couple of core rule books because I want to use the standard version of the core rule book and not the collector's version. And then I did add on the Building Better Worlds and Colonial Marines Operations Manual hardcovers as well. But if I had been smart and not wanted to completely change my pledge, which I mean I probably could have completely changed my pledge anyway. But I didn't really bother. The price difference, and again, I'm adding on extra stuff on top of it anyway, so I'm not overly worried about it. And, you know, Free League has supported me pretty well in the past, so I don't mind paying a little bit extra towards their Kickstarters because I think they're a great company, and I support them wholeheartedly. But the Engineer bundle comes with everything. So you get the starter set, you get the box set for Rapture Protocol, you get a standard core rulebook, you get the miniature set, you get the collector's core rulebook, so you get 2 core rulebooks in that one. You get the GM screen, the extra sets of dice, the crew lapel pins, the honorable mention, and then the Colonial Marines and Building Better Worlds. So effectively, I ended up eventually getting the Engineer bundle through like add-ons, but I've also added extra starter sets, extra box sets. I don't think I did an extra mini set, although I might, because I could still manage my pledge. And then I added on like some extra core rule books, so I'm going to be getting a pretty big shipment from them. So that's kind of what we have here now. They also do offer a retailer bundle, which comes with multiple copies of each product, but you have to be specifically a retailer. Now, I want to talk a little bit about like how this campaign is done so far, because when I was watching the playthrough video of them going through Hope's Last Day, an individual commented on there, and I thought it was kind of an interesting comment, and I wanted to talk about that. And basically, he kind of was contemplating if the Alien license was actually detrimental to this like sci-fi horror role-playing game. And basically he was saying that it seems like players always struggle with like, the player knowledge versus character knowledge, and it's hard to build like suspense when they know what these creatures are, type of thing. Was kind of like what he was kind of getting at, and suggested that maybe if they would have just done their own sci-fi horror role-playing game, that it might run smoother or something like that, or like players wouldn't be tempted to use their player knowledge for the characters. And so I'm going to bring up here the Mythic Carpathia Kickstarter that they did. So I backed this as well, but let me get to the campaign here. Oh, it doesn't show the Canadian dollars, but anyway, that's fine. So this Kickstarter had 5,728 backers, and it did well. Like it did quite well. For the rewards, I don't know if they're going to show if the campaign will show the stretch goals or not. They might not anymore because the Kickstarter's over. They may have taken the stretch goals away. But it did fairly well, right? And Vossen is another really cool horror-themed role-playing game that, Free League has put out. And they ended up raising 5 million Swedish kroners for their, for this project, and that's really good, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Like that was a really hardy Kickstarter because again, I think it was 500,000 was their goal. So they definitely succeeded on that, and they did really well. But the Alien Kickstarter has brought in 9,000 plus backers, and it's not even over yet. There's still a week to go, and they've raised 18 million Swedish kroners of their 500,000 goal. So it's done 3 times. It's done over 3 times as much in terms of funds raised for Free League than their other horror role-playing game, which is another really great system. So the Alien, so having a license, in my opinion, it's nothing but beneficial. It does include like the fact that they do have to make sure that everything is signed off on by 20th Century Studios because they own the license and things like that, right? So it adds some extra steps on like the back end. But I've run the Alien role playing game multiple times for multiple different groups. So I've run Hope's Last Day for 3 separate groups. And I've run the Chariot of the Gods, and I've run Destroyer of Worlds for my online group. That also was one of those 3 groups that did Hope's Last Day. And I have never seen the players struggle with player versus character knowledge. In my experiences, and I'm not going to say this is the same for everybody because it's not. We all know that there are people out there that will 100% metagame and will use whatever knowledge that they have from the movies and they'll throw it into the role playing game. Like there's always going to be people like that, but my personal experiences and when I watch people play online, it seems like if you're a fan of the Alien universe, you want to play in that sandbox, right? Like you want to actually, be part of that world and you want to have those experiences because you love the franchise. So if Free League were to have done a Kickstarter for a more generic sci-fi horror role-playing game, I'm sure they still would have done well because they have, a really good, reputation. But there's no way. Like they weren't prepared for how well this Kickstarter was going to do. Because again, like all of their their first set of stretch goals were done in an hour and a half. So like they had the second wave, which you could tell that they had pre-prepared. Like, okay, well the first one might take a little bit of time to go through. So we have the second set of 5 that should reach us to the end of the campaign. That was taken care of within a day. Right. So they have raised again like 2.6 million Canadian dollars, 18 million of the Swedish currency. And a large portion of that, I would say, is due to the fact that it's the Alien license. So, no, I don't think the Alien license is holding them back. I'm, very much, of the opinion that the license is one of the biggest reasons behind the success. Again, like 9,000 backers versus 5,728 backers for their folk horror role playing game. So they haven't quite doubled the amount of backers, but they've more than tripled the amount raised. So the Alien Kickstarter, like, I'm really looking forward to this coming out. I love the Alien role playing game. I'm looking forward to the tweaked mechanics. I'm looking forward to the new stress rules and panic rules. Because I think that panic really could get out of hand quickly in the first edition. So it'd be interesting to see how they kind of dial that back a bit to make it maybe a little bit more playable by the end of some of these scenarios. But I can't wait for the Rapture Protocol to come out. I can't wait to get the Hope's Last Day and see how they've expanded that. I'm really looking forward to trying the miniatures for like a skirmish game. I'm hoping the miniatures are going to be pre-assembled for the mini set because like it kind of looks like they're supposed to be, and I'm hoping that they're not just going to be on sprues, but we'll see kind of how that goes. But yeah, if you are interested in the Alien universe, like from my personal experiences, it's been nothing but a blast to run, and my players have always had a great time getting into character and playing in the Alien sandbox. And like even when they know what these creatures are, still seeing them or hearing the descriptions of them, it's still been a powerful moments in the game. So if you're interested in the Alien role playing game, you want to check it out. The Kickstarter still has a week to go at the time that I'm recording this, so I highly recommend checking it out. Because yeah, I think this is going to be the first edition was amazing, so I think this version was going to improve on that. And if you haven't backed it yet, there's still time. There's all kinds of cool rewards that you can get. So yeah, check it out. The Alien Evolved Edition and Rapture Protocol Kickstarter, which is currently live. So anyway, let me know in the comments below. Have you played the Alien role-playing game? Have you backed the Kickstarter? Did you go a little crazy with the add-ons like I did? Let me know that all in the comments below. Anyway, thank you all so very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Until then, take care.